wanted to use a similar visual style with all of the typefaces that I used in order to create a consistent and sleek look across all three of my media products. Although I wanted to create consistency between my media products through the use of typeface, I did not want to copy and use the same typeface on every single product, given that this would be boring and predictable for audiences and make them feel as though they are not getting anything new out of the different media format. Therefore, I wanted to strike a good balance between repeating a use of a typeface in order to create continuity, but then also creating continuity between my three media products through the manner in which I chose similar style typefaces on all three of my products. By using similar but not exactly the same typefaces, it would ensure that my audience did not find my media product predictable. It ensured that it was visually pleasing and interesting for the consumer, whilst also producing a coherent branding for the film. This is important for a media product given that it allows the audience to identify the media and the film which is being produced under the marketing campaign it belongs to. Therefore, although it is important not to use the same typefaces throughout, it is important that the typefaces are consistent and similar, given that this will allow your audience to easily identify and recognize your film. It is important that they can recognize and understand that all three of your products are under the same marketing campaign, given that the products seek to give different information to the audience. Therefore, if the consumer can connect and understand that these three products are under the same marketing campaign, then they will be able to decode the different hints and information given within these three media products. It's also important given that it ensures your marketing campaign looks professional and thus as realistic as possible. In the film trailer, I obviously used less written text than what I used on the poster and magazine front cover, due to the nature of the media format affording for more visual footage to be used and less written text to be included. However, as you can see from the text screens that I did include on the trailer, I used a sans serif typeface that was bold and stood out when looking at the screen. The sans serif typeface allowed me to appeal to my target demographic, given that it had a more relaxed and colloquial feel. The sans serif typeface which I had used and the more colloquial impression that it gave would allow me to appeal to my target demographic in a more successful manner. It would do this given that my age target demographic was people aged 17 to 35, and therefore the youthful target audience which I was trying to market my product at would have liked this more colloquial and relaxed typeface that I had used. If I had used a serif typeface, then the film trailer would have come across overly formal, thus meaning that it would not have appealed to my target demographic in a successful manner. The manner in which the typeface is thinner at the top and thicker at the bottom also helps to encode information about the narrative of my film. The manner in which the typeface is not equal in terms of thickness helps to hint towards the fact that your perception of reality is sometimes blurred and not always clear. This therefore links to the narrative of our film, given that our central protagonist does not see things clearly due to her mental illness. Therefore, this was a theme that I had established throughout the typeface, and something that I would look to create again within my ancillary products in order to combine my products in an effective manner. With an awareness that I could use the typeface in order to encode information about the narrative of my film, I looked to do this when choosing and creating the typeface for my magazine and poster. As you can see from the typeface that I used for the title of the film on the poster and magazine, I was able to add a shadow effect to the typeface. This shadow effect helped to create the impression that the typeface was encoding the fact that perception of reality was not always clear, given that you could sometimes see things in multiple different ways. The multiple different shadows that I used on the typeface for the film title helped to encode this, given that it enforced the fact that our central protagonist was seeing things in several different ways as a result of her mental illness. Therefore, you can see how I have successfully been able to combine my three media products by using a theme within my typeface. This theme regards the fact that the typeface that I've used helps to encode the fact that the perception of identity and reality is sometimes blurred and misled. Therefore, I've successfully been able to combine my three media products through using typeface in a manner that would allow me to encode the narrative of my film. You can also see that I was able to use a sans serif typeface for the film title on both my film poster and magazine as well as my trailer. I was able to create continuity between my work through the manner in which I use the same style of typeface to present the name of the film. This therefore meant that my use of the sans serif typeface not only allowed me to create continuity between my three products, but it also allowed me to target my audience in a manner that would be successful, given that I believe my target demographic would be young, fun, and quirky, therefore meaning that a sans serif typeface would be more suitable when trying to appeal to them. You will also be able to see that I used a different typeface for the film title on the trailer in comparison to what I used on the film poster and magazine front cover. However, this was an intentional difference, and I think that the way in which I have used both typefaces of a sans serif font helps to create continuity between my media products. The reason why I intentionally used a different typeface was given that I considered the media format and the way in which they were presented. I worked out that because posters and magazine front covers are presented in a portrait manner, whereas trailers will be presented in a landscape manner, I thought it would be better to use different typefaces to suit this presentation style. Therefore, I decided that it would be sufficient and better to create continuity through my typefaces in the manner in which I use the same style typeface. This is shown through my consistent use of sans serif typeface, not just through the film title, but also through different typefaces that I have used throughout both the magazine and the poster. I created continuity between my magazine and film poster through the manner in which the film title used the same typeface and was presented in exactly the same size. This helped to ensure that the products were consistent, thus meaning that my audience would be able to easily identify that my products were promoting the same film. When producing the magazine, I made a conscious choice in order to make sure that I used similar typefaces to what I had used in the poster. This would ensure that there was continuity between my products, thus helping my audience to identify that they were all under the same marketing campaign. For example, I used the same typeface for the starring actress on the film poster as I did for the director's name on the film magazine. This helped my consumer to group information more easily, whilst also being able to identify that they were from the same marketing campaign. This also enhanced the look and visual of my poster and magazine, thus meaning that it helped to create a brand identity, given that I was promoting things using the similar and same typefaces. Although a majority of the text that I had included used a sans serif typeface, there were a few exceptions to this. One exception included the age classification screen on the start of the film trailer. This included a serif typeface, given that it is conventional to the format conventions of the trailer in order to include a serif typeface. The serif typeface helps the age classification screen appear sophisticated and thus trustworthy. Therefore, I used this typeface in order to conform to the format conventions of a trailer. Another example of how I used sans serif typeface within my media products was in my magazine. Sometimes within the magazine, it is conventional for information to be included in a serif typeface, given that the difference between the sans serif typeface and serif typeface means that the information which is in the serif typeface stands out more to consumers. Therefore, I did create continuity between my products through occasionally using a serif typeface in order to conform to the conventions of that media product. Other than the occasional strapline on the magazine front cover and the age classification screen on the trailer, pretty much all of my typefaces that I used for my three products was of a sans serif font. You can see this through the way in which the billing board and the straplines on the magazine successfully use a sans serif font. The sans serif nature of my typeface successfully helped create continuity between my products, given that they were all using the same style and sort of typeface in order to promote the film. This manner in which I had used a sans serif typeface for the important information within my products helped to create a coherent brand identity, thus meaning that my audiences were able to identify that all three of my products were for the same film. It also helped to ensure that my product appealed to my target demographic in a more successful manner, given that my target demographic is rather youthful, fun, and upbeat. thus meaning that the sans serif font which I have used has helped to create a relaxed and more colloquial feel. It also means that if I'd have used a serif font, it wouldn't have been suitable when trying to make my product appeal to my target demographic. Therefore, to conclude, I would say that I have successfully been able to combine my media products through the use of sans serif typeface. I would say that this has also allowed me to make my products appeal to my target demographic in a more successful and professional manner.